Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles Podcast on a Tuesday morning. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman here. Lots to get to today as we are in the middle of the bye week, but we've got some guests joining us in a little bit. Fletcher Cox, Brian Baldinger. What a show. Most of all, we've got Mr. America here, Zach Berman, sitting upright as always. How are you, Zach?
Doing great. Excited for the show. It's bye week. It's election day. Always enjoy the bye week, especially when it comes at like this time of year. Gives you a chance to refresh and reset. When I started dating my wife and she was looking at the schedule,
here we
she
go.
didn't know football. She wanted to know, she was wondering who bye was, right? Is that a home game or an away game? I said, well technically it's home, right? But I couldn't.
Classic intramural sports move to name your team bye week and hope that you win with some forfeits by teams not showing up.
That's clever. That's clever. But I couldn't believe there was someone who didn't know what a bye week was, right?
And she couldn't believe that there was someone who had to drop everything in the world because the Eagles made a practice squad transaction.
She literally didn't know there was anyone in the world like that. No,
Yeah.
no. That I was the first person she met who cared that G.J. Kinney was being signed to the practice squad.
There you go.
G.J. Kinney, by the way, doing a nice job
Yeah.
down there at Texas State, right?
Bang up job, yeah. Rising coaching star, they say.
Could have seen that coming.
What does GJ stand for?
Ooh, I don't have the answer for you. What is it?
You know,
Gerald?
you think that somebody is an Eagles encyclopedia, and then all of a sudden
Because
you
I
find
don't know
out
what
that
G.J.
they're
Kinney
just a
stands
fraud.
for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Just a fraud. Wow. Took that a little too far. G.J. Kinney's former teammate, by the way, Fletcher Cox, will be on the show today. Excited for that.
that's right. I did also say that at the top of the show.
No,
You're right.
I know, but I was just telling our audience.
Who are some of GJ? Do you remember GJ Kinney's college teammate? Do you remember who that was? Who also was his teammate on the Eagles?
Who was his teammate on the Eagles? So his teammate at Tulsa, who was the teammate at the Eagles, Damaris Johnson.
Damaris Johnson. Yeah.
Number 13.
There you go.
Nice guy, Damaris Johnson.
I like Damaris Johnson. That was.
Is it Damaris or Damaris?
I think it was Damaris.
I put a Philly accent on it. I say, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I once did my excuse to going down to the New Orleans trip a day early was to go to Damaris Johnson's high school, do a Damaris Johnson story, which bought me an extra night in New Orleans. That was a good job on my part.
My excuse was to go to Yazoo City for Fletcher
Yes,
Cox.
I remember.
Yeah. So kindred spirits there. We thought alike.
Similarly, yeah.
What'd you do with your night in New Orleans?
I
should we not share that
I had
on the
never
show?
been to New Orleans before.
Okay.
I think I went to the casino and just walked around Bourbon Street.
I want to unpack this. So,
You know what? It was actually, I remember this very well because it was I was proud of myself. It was like, I went in, I quickly won like $100 at the blackjack table, and I just washed my hands and walked away, and that was it. I never went back.
and then went to Bourbon Street.
Good discipline.
Did you have a few hurricanes?
No, I don't think I had any hurricanes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry to disappoint you.
What and what'd you eat down there?
I remember I got a very good, it was not a po' boy, a different kind of sandwich from a place I had read about. I forget. And then later that weekend went to the famous Willamette Scotch House for the fried chicken.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Delicious.
Are you a beignet guy at Cafe Du Monde?
Yeah, I think a beignet is a little bit overrated.
Okay.
But I enjoy a beignet. I mean, look at my belly. I'm not averse to a beignet.
Do you like the coffee there?
It was fine.
Okay.
Uninspiring. I don't know. How about you?
I'd like a beignet, but it's not. I once actually, my first time down there for a work trip was I had to cover a Virginia Southern Miss game, and I stayed in New Orleans and then drove to Hattiesburg, and I brought the whole press box beignets, and they weren't as good, a few hours later. But I brought that up to Hattiesburg that day, and I recall that drive from New Orleans to Hattiesburg was a little, or the drive back from Hattiesburg to New Orleans. You're just going straight through the swamp.
Okay.
Yeah, but I remember that well.
All right. Zach, because we had our show during the middle of Nick Sirianni's press conference yesterday, I'm curious. Obviously, you rewatched watched it back. Anything that we need to impart on the listeners and the viewers from Sirianni?
So Dallas Goedert, like we said, yesterday. He's going to miss time. There's not a definite timetable there. Sirianni suggested that it's not just the tight ends who pick up the slack there, right? And we talked about this on the show, and we'll talk about it with Brian Baldinger in a bit too, like how the Eagles can compensate for it. But I think you'll see even more of the wide receivers in there. I thought it was interesting when he was asked about those 3 and outs. And Sirianni basically said only one of the 3 and outs actually counted.
Yeah, I don't like this explanation.
He said the one that we talked about, the 3rd and 3, the pass to A.J. Brown. So the first of the 3 and outs was like a true 3 and out.
No, that was the second of the 3.
That was the first
was the backed up.
Yeah. So, okay, you're right. First was backed up. He's like, when you're backed up, you're just trying to get breathing room for a punt. So the second one was the 3rd and 3, and we'll get to that in a moment. And then the third one, he's like, they're just trying to get the Cowboys to use their timeouts and to push them back.
I'm okay with giving them the ball inside their 20 with 50 seconds left and no timeouts. That's a bad explanation.
Yeah, I usually am in like conjunction with the way Nick's thinking on some of these things. I disagreed with him there. And I thought, like, there's nothing that says you can't end the game with the ball in your hands, number one.
And this is a thing that they have done in the past.
Exactly.
Right?
And they're happy to stick their chest out when they do.
And this is like there is a like a classic football guy conservatism to Nick underneath it all, and because he works for like an analytically forward organization, and because the offense is so good, and because they're so good in short yardage, he does go for it on 4th down often. But there are a lot of like little things on the margins where he is, I think, at his core, a little bit conservative, which is interesting for an offensive coach. But yeah, like there is nothing to say that we just got to run the ball and drain their 3 timeouts, because if you get a first down, guess what? The game is over. Don't you trust Jalen Hurts to make a play? Don't you trust this offense to get a first down with the game on the line? Isn't that better than giving the ball to Dak Prescott and he can all of a sudden get the ball on the 50-yard line in one play? Like, I just don't agree with that.
It's frankly similar in terms of your sentiment to whether it was the Washington game or the other game before that when Swift didn't get down, when he didn't have a problem with like Swift scoring. And the whole point is you're supposed to end the game with the ball in your hands. Like, don't even give the opponent a chance to win. So the
Swift touchdown was really bad.
So the Dallas using their timeouts is important. What's more important is you getting a first down and not even giving them a chance. And that doesn't mean you need to, by the way, throw like a deep ball downfield. There's somewhere in between, like a pattern A.J. Brown down the sideline and like far beyond the sticks.
And blaming him for not being able to see the ball.
Yeah, so that's the 3rd and 3. So basically, great call by Brian Johnson, according to Nick Sirianni. Great throw by Jalen Hurts. But A.J. Brown just couldn't see the ball there. I didn't think it was a great throw. I didn't love that call there. I think 3rd and 3 is a spot where you're so good at 4th and 1.
Right. We talked. Yeah.
Yeah. You're making decisions there, knowing 4th down is in play.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then again, like the papering over of just a little bit of an execution error on A.J. Brown running into DeAndre Swift and forcing a fumble. Like
I didn't
I'm
think he
sorry.
papered that over. I disagreed.
You think so?
Yeah, listening back to that, I thought he didn't want to throw them under the bus, but he's like,
Okay.
that can't happen. Now, he said it's a coaching error. I mean, I think that's ultimately I suppose.
And it was a very similar play to the touchdown that they scored with A.J. Brown. It's the same, it's the same pistol, it's the same motion, and he's lining up in the same spot. The formation was a little bit different, but I mean, they got the timing right on the touchdown. I mean, A.J. Brown just can't be just running into guys.
He did say, they ran that earlier in the game and they had success. So he didn't think the play design was a problem there. He said they need to coach it better, but I thought he said that can't happen in that situation, and he's right. That can't happen. The ball cannot touch the turf in that situation.
No doubt about that. It could have been a hero play for any Cowboy who was able to recover that ball. You dominate
these transitions, man.
But Tyler Steen, the hero instead, and Tyler Steen would have gotten a loaf of bread from us if he was here, because hero bread is the bread for people who love bread but want to be a little bit healthier. The taste and the texture is really better than the competition. This bread is soft and fluffy and delicious. It is the high fiber and ultra low net carbs with 0 grams of sugar per slice. Hero makes sliced breads, buns, and tortillas that are available on hero.co and Amazon. It has fewer calories than the leading national brands and 5 to 10 grams of protein per serving. Right now, Hero Bread is offering the PHLY fam 10% off their first order. Just go to hero.co and use our code PHLY to save on Hero Bread today. That's HERO.co to save 10% today.
And let me tell you, while we're on the topic of staying healthy here,
I think a lot of longtime sickos are going to like hearing from you on this front.
yeah,
again.
I'm so excited to discuss AG1 with you, okay? Because the longtime listeners know I've been touting AG1. I'm sorry, I was thinking about AJ Brown there. AG1 ever since my sister's boyfriend brought this up to me and said, "Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this? This is great." He takes it every morning, and I can see why, because AG1 is it's a single solution that supports the entire body and covers your nutritional basis every day. If you want better gut health, if you want a boost in energy, which I like to think I'm high energy, but I'm always looking for a boost in energy. Your immune system support, that's so important. I mean, I have kids that come home with all types of things each day. And I don't want to I don't want to throw pills and vitamins into my body. I want a supplement that actually tastes great. And that's where AG1 comes in. You can take it in the morning. You can take it in the afternoon. You can take it before working out or while making the coffee in the morning. You can use it to start the day, and it will make you feel good. If you're ready to take on the day, if you're ready to go, if you want something that help your body, that's good for your body, that gives it the nutrition that it craves, AG1 is the right thing for you to do. Since I've been drinking AG1, there's a better feeling of overall health. You feel that sustained energy, the improved digestion, the support for mental clarity and focus. All great athletes have one thing in common: they take care of their bodies. I see it in the locker room every day. We're going to talk to Fletcher Cox later. He takes care of his body. Brian Baldinger, former player, he takes care of his body. And taking care of your body starts with optimizing whole body health. A lot of athletes drink AG1, and with every daily serving, you're setting yourself up for success with 75 high-quality ingredients that give daily nutrients, support energy, focus, strength, and clarity. It's a micro habit that delivers macro benefits, and it helps just about everybody take great care of their health every day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need for your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkAG1/Eagles. That's drinkAG1/Eagles. Check it out.
Nicely done, Zach. Shout out to your sister's boyfriend once again.
Yeah, Jeremy, nice guy.
Good. What does Jeremy do?
I mean, we're gonna have to get into all this here on the show. Jeremy's a really nice guy.
Gigolo? I mean,
what's that?
I said, what is he, a gigolo?
No. Jeremy's a very smart guy, good business, and
I had a chance to meet Jeremy.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to be careful like how much I'm giving away in this show. The show's about the Eagles. It's certainly not about it's not about my sister and her boyfriend. But yeah, he's a nice guy. She's amazing. So
okay, there you go. Zach, you wanted me to ask you a question that you've been putting some thought into, and that is because you're such a election day patriot. We both got our I voted stickers, but you want to know if you in the fanciful dreams of your head had been voted. Let's say that this was a democratically elected position, which it is decidedly not. If you were voted NFL commissioner, what would be your agenda?
Well, first off, I would call up Zach Berman at PHLY and Bo Wulf at PHLY, and I'd say, "Hey, what do you want to know? Right? I'll give you the goods." But no.
So in this scenario, there are two Zachs, or you are someone else entirely?
I was making a joke about giving myself an exclusive, right? But no. So there's, in all honesty, here, I long think of like ways the NFL can be better. Okay, there's a few things. There's like micro things, for instance, not micro.
Thank you.
I knew you were going there. One thing I would do is I would make everyone active on game. Like I don't like inactives. I think inactives are an antiquated concept. In particular, if you're on the active roster, you should be able to play on game days. I don't like inactives. Okay.
Now let's devil's advocate this out. The point of inactives are so that teams that are hit especially hard by injuries are not at a disadvantage. You think that just that screw those teams, it's fine. Part of the job is to stay healthy, and if you stay healthy, you should have an advantage.
My counter to that is I think some of these changes in IR rules allows teams to put players on IR if they're down for 3-4 weeks, right? Which in the past you'd hold that player on your roster. There's practice squad elevations, which allow you to expand your roster. So but
if you're doing no inactives, you shouldn't also get to elevate from the practice squad.
Sure, you should. Yeah. I also want that. I want practice. I want more guys to get a chance to play. I was at the Penn State game recently with my wife.
These roster rules make no sense.
And wait. She was saying, how many people are on this team? And I'm like, well, in college, you got like 100 guys for home games. I want more guys to be able to have a chance to play. So you can still do practice squad elevations because it incentivizes practice. So
you have
squads.
A 53-man active roster, and then 16-person practice squad, but 2 elevations per game. So you have 55 active players for a game.
Yes.
And is there still?
Are you for restricting labor here?
Is there still a limit?
Objective?
Is there still a limit to practice squad elevations for players? Like, do you only get 3 a season or whatever it is?
Yeah, let's do that. That way, more players can get a chance to play. But yeah, I'm not in the business of trying to restrict.
Why not pick out 3 people from the stands and they get to dress as well?
Bo Wulf's running on the platform of restricting labor. I'm on the platform of more people getting jobs and more people being out there.
I'm just
playing
saying,
football.
If this is your number one priority,
no, that's not my number one.
You got to think through.
No,
this is what you started with. This is what you started with.
Okay, I said that's the micro one.
Okay.
Big picture ones. All right.
Yeah.
International expansion, international games, big for the NFL. But this is what I would do. I would add 1 additional week to the season, okay? More inventory of games for fans, okay, which is good. Every team plays internationally every year, all right? And then you have your bye after that. So teams have 2 byes now.
Okay, so it's an 18-week, it's a 19-week season.
It's a 19-week season.
Still 17 games.
Yes.
And you have 2 byes.
Yes.
But every team plays an international game.
Yes. And this way it goes from Labor Day to President's Day. All right. Some people have off of work on President's Day. A lot, Now, Super Bowl Sunday is Sunday night. President's Day the next day. This is perfect, right?
Why is this? Who in the world cares about President's Day?
Well, I'm saying... So
you're saying this like it's like July 4th or something like that. Like, oh, football is Americana. We can end it on President's Day. Like, the day most famous for like car sales.
I'm saying that if people, I've heard this push that the day after the Super Bowl should be a national holiday. That people should have off of work, off of school. Well, some people already have off of work. Some people already have off of school. All right. And it's a way to so Super Bowl Sunday, then President's Day the next day. And the NFL season goes from Labor Day to President's Day. I think that's all.
I like the general idea, but like hanging it on the slogan of Labor Day to President's Day is very funny. No. Like, what about Arbor Day? Like,
no. So in addition to this, but the important objective here is another bye week for the players, okay, which I think is a good thing. And then every team plays internationally, so you're expanding the audience. You're bringing football, and I'm not just talking London and Frankfurt, Germany. I'm talking, let's have a game. Well, they've had games in Mexico City. You're going to Brazil. You're going to Shanghai. You're going to Tokyo. You're going to Sydney, Australia. You're going to Rio de Janeiro. I can keep going on, different parts of Europe.
I can keep going on naming cities in the world.
Yeah. Let's now. Let's have stadiums or let's have games in Africa. Let's have games in the Middle East. So obviously Canada. Let's put games in Toronto. Okay.
Okay.
So you're laughing at me. This is a big part of what I'm doing. Okay.
And
now,
which two teams are you sending to the Middle East, Zach?
into the Middle East? I mean, there's gonna be no shortage of teams that want to play. I mean, there was just a World Cup there. We saw world-class stadiums. It'll be hot, but yeah, I think.
I'm gonna steer us away from that part of the conversation.
Okay. Okay. Wait. So okay, and then now this is one that I've. This is a half-baked idea here coming up. Okay. But in a salary cap league, which the NFL is. No draft. Now, draft would really having no draft would affect obviously our coverage. And it's a big tentpole event. But what if you just say you have X amount of dollars to spend, okay, and you can go out and you can sign. So if you're the Washington Commanders this offseason, you can go out and sign Caleb Williams. All right, just like if Bo Wulf is the top podcaster or the top reporter coming out of college. Someone can go sign, PHLY can go sign him, right? Similar concept to that. So you can go sign the top college players, but it comes within the confines of the salary cap. So basically, every player is a free agent, and every player coming out is a free agent. And you can, this would, I think, alleviate tanking, okay? It would alleviate, suppressed rookie scale salaries, okay? And I think that it would create more competitive balance. And
I think the argument from the league would be that it would negate competitive
because
balance.
players would want to go to the Team X or City X. I hear you there. The thing is this: that's where the hard salary cap comes into play. All right, if the what's a team that someone might not want, or a market someone might not want to go to? Green Bay. Okay. If Green Bay can spend X amount of, 3X what New York or Los Angeles or Miami can offer you because they already have a crowded salary cap space, then the player might be compelled to go to the team where either there's the opportunity or there's more money. So this is a half-baked idea because I love draft coverage, right? Selfishly, I don't want to get rid of that, but I'm just thinking of ways to alleviate tanking and to make it more advantageous for the players.
I'm not against that in general. I mean, certainly the draft is labor restrictive. I'm open to that. I also, the thing about the international thing that I like is if it's 17 games, everybody plays one internationally. Yeah. That means you still get 8 home games, 8 away games, and that is, I think, I like that for competitive balance. Yes. You're not getting an extra home game.
Yeah.
And I think players should get a second bye. So I would, of the 3.
Okay.
I'm in on that one the most.
Okay. Well, that's the one I feel strongest about.
I'd like you to keep naming a few more cities if you don't mind. But
no, I mean the international one, like when there was this big debate about them going to 17 games. I kept saying, why don't they just add another bye week, by the way, right? Like that would, TV inventory is most important, more so than like gate, than the gate costs. And so that would allow another week of games to sell to your network partners. They insisted on adding the game. Okay, that's fine. Now you have the 17-game schedule. With the 17-game schedule, though, I don't like how there's 9 home games, 8 away games, or 8 home games, 9 away games, and then you give up a home game every 10 years to play internationally. Play internationally every year. It's a neutral site game. And how about this? As I'm workshopping this, it doesn't need to be an international game every year. A neutral site game. Think of markets in
Yazoo City.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, I don't know if they have the infrastructure in place. Okay, but St. Louis lost their team. Have St. Louis host the game. Okay,
nobody wants to go to a game in St. Louis.
How about all those wonderful people in St. Louis?
For teams they don't care about?
It's football. Everyone cares about football. Let's put a game in San Antonio. Let's put a game in Oklahoma City. You're
losing me now.
Let's put a game in Portland, Oregon. Let's put a game in, let's let's put a game in Maine. Let's put it. I don't
Where
know
are they going to play a game
so
in Maine?
They
Zach?
don't. I was trying to adhere to your family in Maine, but I don't think there's a stadium. I don't think there's the infrastructure there.
You've lost the plot a little bit. This is like a classic politician thing where you're on a roll and you just sort of keep going, and all of a sudden you're.
But international / neutral strike game with a bye week afterwards, running on that platform. And how many years left?
Head to your polls.
How many years left
stay in line.
does Roger Goodell have on his new contract? I think it's a 3-year deal. After that. Zach Berman
listen, the commissioner works for the owners. They don't work for football. So like it's a different thing. If I was in charge of football and not working for the owners, I would be guaranteeing player salaries. That's the first thing that I would be doing.
Okay.
I mean, they've got the worst contract situation of any major sport, and they put the most of their physical being at line. Like they're the ones who deserve to have guaranteed contracts.
I would need to do my research and have a better sense of that, but I hear what you're saying.
Okay. Well, Zach, before we get to Baldy, who is joining us in a minute, let's talk about Game Time, because Game Time is the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Flash deals and last-minute tickets. Easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Images of seat views, lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and more. You can get those images of the seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Zach. What would you like to sort of hear from Baldy about?
Well, Dallas Goedert is one thing I want to hear about. I want to hear how he expects the Eagles to compensate for that. I'm curious what he thought of Tyler Steen's performance the other day. I know that there are some things on Twitter about that. It's interesting. The Eagles are on their bye at the midpoint of the year. In an 18-game schedule or 18-week game schedule, there'd be like a natural midpoint. There's not a natural.
It would still be an uneven amount of games, but yeah.
No, after the 9th game, okay, that's true. But all right, but here we are after week 9. We're in a natural time in the season for like midterm reviews, if you will. I want to know what he thinks the Eagles need to fix in the second half of the year.
All right, and what do you think we need to fix in the second half of the year?
Well, there's a lot for that. I'm always listening back and watching back on things that I can do better. My posture needs to be better right now. I think my delivery can be a little more clear. I just said, I need to cut down on the odds and the So, yeah, definitely things I can.
I think your posture is fine. I don't think you need to. I think you're doing a good job on your posture. I don't think you need to be even straighter. Let's be a little casual here on the set,
I got you. Okay.
I mean, you're not running for commissioner, are you?
I mean, I'm not taking myself out of contention if you're asking me that, right?
Well, you do like to hobnob with the owners.
I like to hobnob with all people, right? So if Jeffrey Lurie's there, I'm not going to turn around and not say hello. Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
How's the book coming? We're closing in on deadline, aren't we?
Yeah, the book will be sent out today. Like the manuscript will be sent out, and then I'm looking forward to working with the editors on that.
Will you feel like, in terms of like the senses of accomplishment along the way that you are proud of yourself for, where does sending it off rank?
It feels great when you do that, because it's like when you have an article that you're working on, and the article is like on your head. A book is like every day that's on your head. I need to get these words done So yeah, looking forward to that, and looking forward to speaking to Brian Baldinger.
All right, well, let's get to that now because we have Baldy on the line. Baldy, how are you?
Hey guys, it good to be with you. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm just finishing week 9 here, breaking down some of the final games. So just doing what I do.
Great to see you. How was the first week of the All City NFL podcast? How has that
No,
been
it
going
was
so
good.
far? Everybody should check that out.
Yeah, it was good. We had Lane Johnson on. We got Max Crosby coming on, and Chuck Smith, the pass rush specialist for the Baltimore Ravens with the #1 defense in the league. And so we've had some good guests, and I think we're kind of just, it's kind of like a blank canvas. We're trying to figure out what's the best way to fill, an hour each day. But it's been a lot of fun, and we do it right here in my office. So you can see the logo right behind me, but it's good.
Love that, and everybody should check that out. Let's go quickly through some of the stuff from the last game, Baldy. I guess my first question for you, expert that you are, talking to Lane, what's sort of your review on Tyler Steen's first game as a starting right guard?
Well, look, it's the third right guard they've had this year. That's just the league right now, the injuries. So everybody's, when you put a new right guard, you put him against two of the best veterans in this whole league between Kelsey and Lane. It's going to be better. It's going to help a young guy like that. But, he got the first game under his belt against the Cowboys with, look, he saw Micah Parsons a bunch. Micah is like a lot of pass rushers. All right, who's the new guy? Who's the weak link? Let's test him. Micah doesn't often line up over right guards, but he did in this game, 4 or 5 times. He beat him clean a few times, but, there's no shame in that. It's just nobody else moves like Micah Parsons in this league. So I thought, other than that, he handled things pretty good up front.
Baldy, the big story here in Philly, as you know, is Dallas Goedert going down. Big loss for the Eagles offense. Of course, how do you see them compensating for the absence of Goddard during these next few weeks?
Well, they went to a Super Bowl last year, Zach, and he missed time last year. I forget what the injury was, but he missed a chunk of time. They signed Albert O from Denver in preseason. He hadn't had a chance really outside of last week to get a chance to play, but he's going to get a chance now. His last preseason game with the Broncos against the Rams, he was the best player on the field that day preseason, but he caught everything they threw at him. He's a big body that runs good. He's going to get a chance along with Stoll, and they've always had depth at that position. You might see a little bit more 4 receivers with Julio out there. They've got some options, but I don't think it's going to fall apart because Dallas isn't out there right now.
The flip side to that is we've been sort of talking about how can the Eagles get their running game back on the ground, and we know how important Dallas Goedert is to that. How would you sort of explain to to the layman how important Dallas is to the running game?
Well, to be honest with you, Bo, there's not the old-fashioned tight end was just called a Y in West Coast offense. And so he's a true Y. He's a guy you can line up next to Lane or next to Malata, and he can handle most defensive ends or outside linebackers pretty good. He's an excellent blocker, and there's not many of them in the league right now. But he also obviously can flex out. He's a guy that you can put in motion. You can do a lot of things with in the passing game. So he's got tremendous versatility. And I don't know that they have anybody that can do that. So it's going to have to be reconfigured a little bit. I might go back and watch some of the games without him last year and just see what they did. But, it's going to give an opportunity for a lot of other guys to step up and maybe play a little bit of that role. I don't think anybody can just step up and be Dallas Goedert on this roster. But you might see an extra tackle in there in run downs where they really want to, pound the ball. You might see Drac Driscoll come in or somebody else right now, Suapeta, whoever's healthy, come in and be a third tight end in situations where they really want to run the ball and you need a strong side blocker at the point. You might see some of that as well in Nick Sirianni's offense.
It's the midpoint of the season. The Eagles are 8-1, best record in the league. But I'm sure when you stop at Wawa, it doesn't always seem that way, right? It's not like they've been this big juggernaut going into the back stretch of the season, and in particular with the schedule they have. What needs to improve on the Eagles roster and with the way they play?
Well, I mean, on the back end right now, Zach, they're not playing well in the back end. I mean, they've given up 18 touchdown passes in those 9 games. That's too many. Um, they're getting behind them right now. I mean, last week, whether it was Jake Ferguson or CeeDee Lamb, I mean, they were both having basically career days. But we saw Washington the week before. And so, maybe more zone right now and just keep everything in front of them and let the front go to work and let those guys eat a little bit and pressure the quarterback. Maybe they need to blitz a little bit more, Zach, than they tend to like to do. But sometimes, if you watch Kansas City, if you watch Baltimore, if you watch the elite defenses in this league, they're not afraid to get, a cornerback or safety free to the quarterback and just speed things up a little bit where they don't have the time to make these perfect throws the way Dak did the other day. So I think that's the first thing is, Byard's new, so he's figuring out his role. They've had a ton of injuries back there. I think they got to figure out the slot defender position, whether that's Eli Ricks or whether it's somebody else right now. But, I don't think they've replaced Devontae Maddox since he went down early in the year. And so that's a key position when you're going up against, whether it's Kansas City, the next game or whatever it is. Like, I think they got to get that figured out.
Yeah, Bradley Roby hopefully due back after the bye. There's a good breakdown that you have on your Twitter, Baldy, about all the ways that the Cowboys were getting CeeDee Lamb matched up on those relatively weaker defenders for the Eagles. I'm curious, knowing how much you talk to guys in the NFL, the Eagles entering this bye, right? The coaching staff, the work that they're going to do over the next 10 days or so, they know that that's where they are weak on defense. What are the conversations that you expect them to sort of be having over these next few days?
Well, it could be, with Sean and Nick, just, do we need to blitz more? And if we do, where does it come from? Is it slot defenders? Is it Zach Cunningham? Who is it? Is it more twist stunts rather than guys just trying to win one-on-ones? I mean, they have 30 sacks. It's not like they're not good in that position. I mean, Haason Reddick is all the way back. He's making a difference right now the way we expect him to. But I would say that's a conversation. I think, what is Jalen in the run game right now? Is he a viable threat in the run game? Obviously, the bone bruise is real. The result is he's becoming an excellent pocket passer right now. He was last week. The touchdown to Devontae was excellent, but from the pocket. But do we need to get, if he's healthier after the bye week, do we need to use Jalen more in the run game? Because they're more difficult to stop in the run game when Jalen is a factor. And so I think those are some of the conversations that they have with Nick and the staff right now.
In following up on that, Jalen, these past few weeks especially, even with this injury, has just been lights out as a passer, and it's a stretch that's been particularly impressive. As you've watched the film, what are you seeing from him as a passer in particular?
Well, I mean, he's up amongst the best in the league right now. I mean, just the way that he can layer a ball over the middle of the field, or the touch he has dropping it to the outside shoulder to Devontae Smith for the touchdown, or, the out route to Dallas Goedert on the sideline, Zach. I mean, those are elite throws. You expect the layups, the swing passes, the stick routes, some of the flat routes. You expect those are layups. You expect him to complete those. But you're looking at the next level throws down the field. I mean, I said it last year. I thought he was as good a deep ball thrower as there was in the NFL last year. He has amazing touch on the deep ball. And so, I mean, A.J. Brown is second in the league in receiving for a reason. Somebody's thrown him those balls, and it's been Jalen. And I don't think anybody, honestly, Zach, could have ever imagined that Jalen Hurts could throw with this type of touch and accuracy and see the field as well as he does 3 years ago when he was just beginning this journey. And so and I think it's only getting better because we're seeing him from the pocket right now. Go, okay, you want to be Joe Burrow? This is what Joe Burrow does. He's doing it. If you want to get outside the pocket and play Patrick Mahomes and be that style, you can do that. Not that he's imitating anybody, but if you want to throw a comparison out there, he's, the throws over the middle of the field, the dig routes, the dangerous throws. I mean, you got to layer those throws. Those aren't easy throws in this league. Too many hands getting away, too many zones, like against the Jets where he threw the interception at the end. I think he's just seeing the field a lot better.
We sort of had this conversation yesterday, but along those lines, when they signed him to the long-term extension, right? The question is, as his career goes on, if his like superpower of his legs is not as dangerous, what will he look like? Do you feel like the first half of the season has sort of made you feel more bullish about his long-term prospects?
Well, I'm bullish long term, regardless, Bo. But I think we all understand just who Jalen Hurts is at this point, and that it's never going to change. Like I feel like he's never going to rest. He's never going to stop. I'm sure he's getting treatment right now in some part of the world, where the hardest thing for him to do is to stop working, but it's probably a good idea to stop working right now. And whatever is ailing him, get the necessary treatment to be as close to 100% as he can. But I don't think he's ever going to be satisfied with anything until he starts winning multiple championships. And so that's a great place to be. The great ones have that in them. They never stop working on whatever it is that they can improve and make better.
He is Mr. Football. He is Brian Baldinger. Check out the All-City NFL show with Anthony Gargano. Max Crosby coming up this week. We look forward to that, Baldy. Thank you so much.
It'd be good, guys. Yep, you bet. Take care now. Talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. All right. Well, Zach, if you are looking for some swag for your bye week plans, I know you got some big stuff going on, you might want to check out FOCO, because FOCO is a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise with a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and more. It is the best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms. It's football and tailgating season. They've got your overalls, your hoodies, your hats, your sunglasses, your bags, everything you need for a game. FOCO has hooked PHLY up and provided awesome pieces for our sets. FOCO always has our back for Philly sports, and they have yours too. Get the best gear around by using the link in our description. For all non-presale items, use the promo code PHLY for 10% off. And we can pivot right from that, Zach, to our next guest, Mr. Fletcher Cox, making his second appearance on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Fletch, how are you?
Good. What's going on, fellas?
Going well. Where are you? How are you spending the bye? Give us a little bit of a sense of the Fletcher Cox scene at the moment.
I'm just came back where I live at in ALLCITY, Texas, at the ranch, just hanging out here and enjoying some peace, which is always good.
Fletch, in these past few years, I've heard a lot about the Shady Trail Ranch. Can you tell our viewers, our listeners, what exactly it is and how you spend your time down there?
Well, it is actually it's named after my oldest brother. But the biggest thing about Shady Trail Ranch is not many people know that it's a high fence preserve hunting ranch. We get people from all over the place come and hunt and have a good time, and it's just a place where you get a bunch of guys together and get to know each other and have a good time for a couple of days.
Sounds like a great time. Maybe we'll join you
It
next
is,
time.
always is. Yes, sir. We set up here one day.
I like that. Fletch, one thing I want to ask you about is we have seen over and over since the start of last season that defensive line at the end of a game, when like a play needs to be made, somebody's coming up with like a clutch sack. Now, in your opinion, is that like just because the talent is so good and eventually somebody's going to get there? Or is there something to like, are you rushing any differently at the end of the game when you know that it's sort of all out and this is one play can make the difference?
No, absolutely. Honestly, the biggest thing is number one is you got a lot of talent in that room, right? You got a lot of first round draft picks in that room. It's a lot of money in that room, and we know at some point that you kind of save a couple pass rush moves in your back pocket until you actually really need them. Late in the game, and that's the thing that about us, that we don't only have just one or two guys that can rush the quarterback. We can send waves at you, which is always good. Keep guys fresh to get to the fourth quarter, down to crunch time like we needed the other night.
That must take so much discipline to like hold a move in your back pocket just for like the exact right situation.
Well, I'm gonna say, you holding it, you probably just trying to set it up the whole time. A lot of pass rushers, you try to set stuff up and eventually it works. You kind of get there and then when you really pull it out, you do. And I mean, BG, Josh, all those guys had some key moments in that game on Sunday.
You mentioned Sweat there. He had that game clinching sack. I guess we can call it. It was a funny scene by your locker the other day. You saw kind of everyone around Sweat's locker. You've been around him for 6 years. It hasn't always been the case. How has he developed over the 6 years, and is he at a point now where you consider him one of the top edge rushers in the league?
His approach and the way he works, obviously, has played a tremendous help to his career these last few years, and just watching him grow every day in practice. The challenge he tried to give our O line and the looks, and he just wanted to be dominant. That's all, Josh. He don't talk a whole lot, he don't say a whole lot, but he just want to play. And help us win games, and then that was big with him doing it, and he did it on the side. He normally don't get a bunch of snaps on. Which is I was happy to see that.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Last few snaps of that game, he and Haason switched sides. Is that like they give each other a look, like let's just change this up and try to catch them off guard? Is that coming in from the sidelines? How does that work?
We practice stuff like that. Sometimes to give guys just looks of different looks in different fields. Obviously especially with those with our DNs, either anybody can play anything. And I think at the time, Haason got a sack on that side, and Sweaty got a sack from the other side. So they were just kind of, going to some new ground over there, which was good to see. Because normally teams kind of know where we line up at in pass rush situations, and a lot of people now they got to prepare for it. Those guys moving around.
Now Lane said that he aged in dog years during that game. He said he came in at 33 and was like 42 at the end of the game. What was it like on the field? You've had a lot of tight endings in your career, but what was it like on the field for that one?
I mean, it was definitely a nut cutting, knowing that we got a big stop in, and the biggest thing was after the big stop was that I kind of got the feeling on the sideline, all right, guys, we're gonna have to go back and win the game. I held my helmet in my hand, but it was definitely one you want to be on the edge of your seat with. But we came out on the good side of it, which was good. The fans stayed in it the whole entire time, which you gotta fucking love that. Gets you more excited, and that helped us late in that game.
The other angle there I want to ask you about is because there were such quick possessions for the offense, and not to put the blame on them, but you guys were out there for a long time. How do you sort of explain, like, the game was on the line, but I mean, you must be exhausted at that stage of the game?
I think maybe. I think after the game, you've probably seen the entire defensive line take a knee after that last play. Those moments like that, you live for moments like that, right? And that's what we do.
Now I want you had a sack, okay, and I kind of want your honest answer on this because D linemen know how important sacks are, and sometimes you get like the linebackers who jump on at the end. You had that great pass rush. You bring them down. Not take anything away from Nakobe, but Nakobe gets a half a sack there too. As a pass rusher there, do you want the full sack? Should both you guys get full sacks? How should that be handled? Because that was your pass rush and you brought him down.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing was I knew Nakobe was coming under pressure, and I got there and I kind of, I saw him coming, and then I tried to get the ball out, which, I think if you do get the ball out, you end up getting the whole sack. But he was there. We got him on the ground. It was a big play in the game, and but the linebackers, it's in our room, in the D line room. We want all the D linemen to have all the sacks, and
Sure.
sometimes linebackers.
What you really object to, I imagine, is like when they didn't really deserve it. Like at least in that one, he was in on the rush with you. Like you did sort of meet there together. I got
to go talk to Nakobe about that one. I might have to turn that one in so I can get the whole sack. Nothing personal.
Yeah,
all
no,
business.
absolutely. But
Indeed.
let's give the man his respect. That was a fun little call on that one because Nakobe comes, but Josh drops, and so it sort of seemed like it messed up the protection with the center and the right guard there.
Well, I mean, definitely on that play, I saw the center kind of turn his back to me, and I knew that I only had a split second to kind of get in that crease. Which we practice that stuff a lot. Those moments, and coach always tell us you only got so long to get there, the split second until he realizes pressure and he's coming back. Which I got lucky on that one and got through there, split the protection, and got to the quarterback.
Now it's Tuesday of the bye week. You've had seasons during these past 12 years where the coaches bring you in, for like either the Tuesday or the Wednesday of the bye week. You guys have off this week. How does that work? Is it the leaders of the team? Did you know it all along? Did you have to win the game? And how pissed are you guys when you have to come in during the bye like you did earlier in your career?
No. I think Coach, it was one of them things where we wasn't even worried about the schedule as a team. Honestly, we had our leadership committee meeting the other day. We have that once a week. Nobody never mentioned, hey, Coach, like you're gonna give us the whole week. I think our main goal was to try to get this game behind us and then talk about that, which it happened, and Coach gave us the week off, and you know, that's why everybody likes Nick. He know this last little stretch means a lot to us. He's gonna be important, and guys got to be fresh. We got to get guys back healthy, and that's why guys want to play for him. The things that he do, and we appreciate him so much.
If I could ask you a little bit about the leadership committee, Fletch, for people who don't know, how does that work? How does that group come together? And what other kinds of conversations do you have with Nick? And I guess, is it different than what it's been like with other coaches?
No, I mean it's just it's a couple guys out of each position. Coach picked those guys, and which is always good to see that, and guys he trusts, and this stuff that goes on, just how's the team doing, schedule wise, what do we like, what we don't like, just so much stuff that goes into that.
In the locker room after the game, these guys were excited for the bye, right? It came at a good time of the season. It's kind of halfway through. You're someone who they all listen to in there. Do you tell them to get away from football? Do you tell them to kind of get off their feet? What's the message for your teammates during this off time?
I tell a lot of guys like myself, like I won't even think about ball this week. I'm gonna give myself some time, not think about ball, just chill and be myself. Work out a couple times this week, obviously, and that's the biggest thing. Just kind of clear my mind and get ready for this long stretch that we have going forward.
No, I do have one other question about the game that I have to ask you as a reputable journalist. This is something that we have been talking about since it happened on Sunday. Matt Leo on the sideline. Have you seen the clip? Do you have any thoughts?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
You haven't seen it? Oh, he gets
No.
knocked over on the side there. And I think there have been some screenshots of what he might have been wearing underneath. But I guess if that hasn't made it along the lines in the defensive line room, you don't have to comment on it.
No, I haven't seen nothing. No, now I got to go check after this.
Okay.
No, I haven't seen it. Yeah, I definitely need that link. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's like a red, interesting undergarment that he's got going on, but he has said it's just a different kind of underwear. That's all.
Wow. Well, hey, Matt, we got to talk. Can't have that. You can make me sit, Matt. I'm gonna have to FaceTime Matt. I have to FaceTime Matt right now. I'm trying to put him on blast, but he's probably busy.
Yeah, you can report back with the story. This can be your first big scoop as a journalist.
He's all over the internet this week.
Yeah.
Oh, so see, yeah, I got to get that.
Okay, I know. Will you watch any football this week?
Nah.
Good for you.
Mm-mm.
I think that's the difference. I would say
I'm just
the
gonna
only
chill
difference
out
between you and Zach. Yeah.
Oh, Zach, he's probably missing the press conference right now. Oh, is he watching it right now while he's with us? Which one is it? I mean.
Yeah, this is something that Fletcher, you take precedence over the. Now, there's not a press conference today. The press conference is going to be next week going into the Chiefs game. But last week, like I said, I missed those coordinator press conferences to speak with you. You do take precedence over it. But like Bo was saying, I'm consuming football all weekend long. My wife's not thrilled about that one. So that might be the only difference between you and me, because people confuse me for Fletcher a lot. So the only difference is that I'm not watching football this weekend, or that I am watching.
Yeah, that's right.
No, you just need to get away and just hang out. Just wait till next week, right?
Yes, exactly.
So
Well, Fletch,
we'll be good.
We thank you. We thank you once again for joining us. We look forward to talking to you next week. Enjoy the time off, get the body right, and enjoy not watching football like a good guy should.
Yes, sir. And it's going to be a great week. Reset and get ready to go for this long stretch. Like I keep saying, it's going to be special.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. I'll talk to y'all. Go Birds.
Good ending. Love that. So Zach.
Honest mistake happens a lot.
You get that all the time.
You get it all the time, actually. Yeah.
You know what? I am a little bit surprised he hadn't heard about the Matt Leo thing. We know Josh Sweat was commenting on it on Twitter. I thought it might have come across his phone at some point.
Oh, now he's gonna FaceTime Matt Leo.
I hope he's in. I hope he's decent.
Keep going here.
I hope he's
Finish
decent.
your thought. Yeah.
Good stuff. Fletch and Baldy.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a ride.
Absolutely. I mean, the insight on the defensive line room, the insight on kind of waiting to make that money play at the end, hearing about the leadership council staying off his feet this week, the Shady Trail Ranch.
I liked your question on the linebackers because you could tell he's like, yeah, I mean, we're all about the D-line in the D-line room. Let's keep those linebackers away from our sacks.
And let's be honest, linebackers aren't getting paid for sacks, right?
Right.
Now maybe you try to sneak in like a linebacker gets two.
Nicholas Moro's coming in.
Yeah,
throwing the game book on Howie's desk, like pay me my money.
Yeah, exactly. A linebacker gets like 2-3 sacks over the season. Contract negotiations, they're saying, look, you can blitz me. D lineman, the difference if you get the double-digit sacks, that's huge, right? So you don't want to share a half a sack. Now, I spoke to a player one time who said there shouldn't even be such a thing as a half a sack, right? You should just both get credit for the sack. Are you now? When you do that, maybe some statisticians can be a little sack happy in their. They could give two players the sack, and it accumulates the sack totals, similar to tackles. It's famous. The Buffalo Bills statisticians inflated like Kiko Alonso's tackles. I remember Sports Illustrated had a story on that one time. So,
I would say that like there shouldn't you do have to split the sacks because the sack total should match up with the sack total. However, there is the case when sometimes it's three guys, they all get a half sack. They don't get third sacks. They give out 3 half sacks, which doesn't add up.
So it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So this is the difference between you and I with this. I want to give everyone sacks. You want to make sure that the sacks match up on the box score.
No, but I also here's and this is one of my commissioner things.
Where were you in this conversation 30 minutes ago?
And we've talked about this before. If you are the defensive lineman tackling a quarterback as he does an intentional grounding, that should be a sack.
Now, if you're a receiver on pass interference, should you get the yardage?
I'm open to that.
Okay.
I'm open
because
to that.
it's basically the same, right? I mean, not basically the same.
Yeah,
but
I think it's
comparable.
I think it's a little bit different, but it's
because it was going to be a sack anyways. I mean, a pass interference,
and it's adjudicated the exact same way. It just the ball just goes right there.
Sure. The pass interference in football, it's a spot foul, so it's basically where you were going to make or where the interference occurred.
Yeah. Much to think about. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles Podcast. We are back tomorrow at 11 again. Is that right?
11 again. Look forward to that.
11 again. Nice to have a little consistency to the timing. So we look forward to that. For Bree and Fletcher and Brian and Zach, we thank you for listening. We will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.